They say love can make people do impossible things, but no one ever asks, what happens when time begins to run out? This is the story of a girl named Lyra, and the last dragon. Far above a small coastal village, hidden among jagged cliffs and clouds, lived a dragon named Kael. His scales were black as midnight, his wings could blot out the sun, and for nearly 1,000 years, he had lived alone. Long ago, a curse had fallen upon dragonkind, a strange magic that allowed dragons to take human form for 1 hour each day. For centuries, Kael used that hour to wander the world, to walk among humans, to remember what it felt like not to be feared, but as the last of his kind. The magic was fading. Every year his hour grew shorter, and one day, it would disappear forever. In the village below lived a young baker named Lyra. Every morning before sunrise, she opened her family's bakery, and every morning, a mysterious stranger arrived, always at the same time, always alone, always leaving before the church bells rang. For months she watched him, the blonde-haired traveler with thoughtful eyes, the man who never stayed, the man who always seemed to be watching the horizon. One morning, curiosity finally won. "You know," Lyra said, handing him a loaf of fresh bread, "you might be the strangest customer I've ever had." The stranger smiled. "Only the strangest?" She laughed. "I'll need more information before I can rank you properly." For the first time in years, Kael laughed too. After that, their conversations became longer. Then came walks along the cliffs, telling stories, watching the sunrise. Days slowly became weeks. Weeks became months. And before either of them realized it, friendship had become something more. For Lyra, falling in love felt effortless. For Kael, it was terrifying, because he carried a secret, one that would eventually destroy everything. The first sign came during a walk beside the sea. Kael suddenly froze. His eyes darted toward the sun. Panic flashed across his face. "I have to go." "What?" Lyra laughed. "You always leave so suddenly." But this time he wasn't smiling. He turned and ran, vanishing beyond the cliffs. The next day he returned, apologetic, distracted, checking a small pocket watch every few minutes. Lyra noticed, but she didn't press him, not yet. The truth was far worse than she imagined. His transformation no longer lasted an hour, it lasted 50 minutes, then 45, then 40. Each month, more time vanished, like sand slipping through his claws, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. One evening, determined to learn the truth, Lyra followed him. She watched as he climbed the cliffs overlooking the sea. The sky burned orange with sunset. Kael stopped at the edge, and suddenly, his body began to change. His hands became claws, his skin became scales, wings burst from his back, a massive tail crashed against the rocks. And standing before her was a dragon. Lyra gasped, stepping backward in horror. Kael turned. Their eyes met, and for a moment, neither spoke. Then she ran. The following weeks were the loneliest of Kael's life. He stopped visiting the village, stopped taking human form, stopped hoping. The magic continued shrinking. 30 minutes, 20, 15. Meanwhile, Lyra wrestled with the truth. She wanted to hate him, wanted to believe everything had been a lie, but every memory fought against it. Every laugh, every conversation of kindness the dragon she had seen was still Kael. Then the storm came. The worst storm in living memory. Towering waves smashed against the coast. A fishing vessel carrying villagers struck hidden rocks. The ship began to sink. Screams echoed across the sea. And from the clouds above, a dragon descended, Kael, ignoring the lightning, ignoring the crashing waves, ignoring the danger. He flew through the storm again and again, pulling sailors from the freezing water, carrying children to safety, saving strangers who feared him. Lyra watched from the shore and finally understood. The monster everyone feared had the kindest heart she'd ever known. When Kael landed, exhausted and injured, she approached him. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Kael closed his eyes and gently rested his forehead against hers. The great black dragon who had faced storms, hunters, and centuries of loneliness seemed suddenly vulnerable. Lyra smiled through her tears, her hand never leaving his scales. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to, because in that moment, they both understood. Somewhere between the laughter, the sunsets, the secrets, and the heartbreak, they had fallen in love. Their hearts ached with it, ached with everything they had almost lost, and everything they still hoped to find. For a long moment they remained there, a village baker, and the last dragon, foreheads touching beneath the fading storm, neither wanting the moment to end. But the next morning, reality returned. Kael's hour had become even shorter. The smile faded from Lyra's face. The fear returned. And this time, she refused to ignore it. There had to be a way, a spell, a cure, something. She would not stand by and watch time steal him away. Not now, not after everything. If there was even the smallest chance to save him, she would find it. And she wouldn't be searching alone. Together they searched for a cure. Kael lowered himself onto the cliff edge. Get on. Lyra stared at the enormous dragon, then at the mountain in the distance, then back at the dragon. You know, she placed her hands on her hips. For someone who spent weeks hiding the fact he was a dragon, Kael sighed. Lyra, you could have mentioned the flying. A rumbling laugh escaped his throat. Are you getting on or not? Lyra smirked. Just making sure I appreciate how unfair this is. She climbed onto his back, settling herself between the great black scales. Kael glanced back at her. Comfortable? Lyra looked at the winding trail that disappeared up the mountain, then at the endless forest beyond, then at the clouds beneath them. She smiled. Powerful beat of his wings, they launched into the sky. Together they searched for a cure. Ancient ruins, forgotten libraries, lost legends buried beneath centuries of dust. Every clue led them farther from home. And every day, Kael's remaining time grew shorter. 10 minutes, 8, 5. Eventually, deep within the ruins of the first dragons, they found the answer. An ancient spell, a way to break the curse forever. But there was a price. Kael could save his human form. He could live a normal life, but only by surrendering everything else. His wings, his fire, his strength, his immortality, his dragon soul, forever. That night they sat beside a fire. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Lyra whispered, You don't have to do this. Kael smiled. Do you know what dragons spend their lives searching for? She shook her head. Treasure. He looked at her. I found mine. The next morning he made his choice. The ancient magic surrounded him. Golden light filled the ruins. The earth trembled. The sky roared. And when the light faded, the last dragon was gone. The fire crackled softly between them. Lyra caught Kael staring. Again. You keep looking at me. Kael smiled. Can you blame me? Heat rose into her cheeks. She stepped closer, then closer still. For a moment neither spoke, neither looked away. I almost lost you, Lyra whispered. Kael gently took her hand. You never will. His fingers brushed her cheek. Their hearts pounded. The world around them seemed to disappear. Then Kael kissed her, softly at first, then neither wanted to let go. Lyra felt his arms pull her closer, and for the first time in her life, she understood why poets wrote songs about love, because nothing had ever felt like this. Nothing had ever felt so right. And in that moment, she wanted him more than ever. The fire burned low. The ancient library had fallen silent around them. For a while neither spoke, content simply to be together. Lyra rested her head against Kael's chest. listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Kael wrapped an arm around her and gently brushed a strand of dark hair from her face. For the first time in what felt like forever, the world seemed at peace. No curses, no shrinking hours, no fear of what tomorrow might bring, only the warmth of the fire and the comfort of being close. Slowly, exhaustion began to claim them. Lyra's eyes grew heavy. A small smile touched her lips as she drifted to sleep in his arms. Kael watched her for a moment longer, as if trying to memorize every detail. Then he pressed a gentle kiss against her forehead and closed his eyes, holding her a little tighter. Beneath the glow of the dying fire, the last dragon and the girl he loved fell asleep together. For once, time could wait until morning. Kael opened his eyes. No wings, no scales, no magic, no dragon, just a man. For a moment, panic filled his chest. Had it worked? Had he truly given everything away? Then he felt something move beside him. Kael looked down. Lyra was asleep against his chest, one arm draped across him, her dark hair spread across the fur blankets, her breathing slow and peaceful. For a long moment, he simply stared. The morning sunlight danced across her face, and suddenly, the sacrifice didn't feel like a loss at all. Slowly, Lyra opened her eyes. She blinked up at him, a sleepy smile appearing on her lips. "You're staring." Kael laughed softly. "I know. I just—" His voice caught. "I wanted to make sure this was real." Lyra reached up and touched his cheek. "It is." For the first time in his long life, Kael felt completely free. Not because he could fly, not because he possessed magic, but because he finally had someone to share his life with. Only Kael remained, human, mortal, free. Years passed. For the first time in centuries, Kael lived as an ordinary man. No wings, no scales, no fire, no magic. And a life he never thought he'd have. He never regretted his choice, not once. One evening they stood together overlooking the sea. The same sea where their story had begun. The sunset painted the horizon gold. Lyra rested her head against his shoulder. "Do you ever miss flying?" she asked. Kael smiled. "No." And he meant it. Then something caught his eye, a strange shimmer on the palm of his hand. He frowned, slowly turning it toward the fading light. There, nestled against his skin, was a single black scale. His breath caught. For a moment, neither spoke. The scale glimmered, dark as midnight. Beautiful. Impossible. Lyra stared at it, then looked at him. "Kael." His heart began to pound, because deep inside, he recognized the feeling. The same ancient magic he thought he had sacrificed forever. The same magic that once flowed through every dragon. The scale vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving only silence and questions. Some stories end with a goodbye, others end with a question. And somewhere beyond the mountains, a forgotten pair of golden eyes had just opened. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until the next story, may your dreams be filled with myths and moonlight. Good night.